Thank you to both gentlemen for excellent testimony, and I thank Chairman Royce and Ranking Member Engel for calling this important and timely hearing. Once again, we are having this hearing amidst the backdrop of economic uncertainty, both here and abroad. But here it is incumbent upon us to be responsible stewards of the tax dollars of hardworking Americans. We want to ensure that these hard-earned dollars are spent wisely and strategically while advancing our national security interests and addressing our foreign policy priorities. Which brings me to the Administration's request of $370 million for West Bank and Gaza assistance. With Prime Minister Fayyad's resignation casting a greater shadow in the future makeup of the PA, and with the knowledge that corruption is rampant within that body, Dr. Shah, do you believe that the PA possesses adequate internal controls to effectively deliver any U.S. aid? And what assurances have we received that no money will be diverted to Hamas and other terrorist organizations? In addition, Dr. Shah, I continue to be concerned over the Administration's attempts to cut much-needed democracy programs to the Cuban people. 40 pro-democracy activists remain on hunger strikes in Cuba to call attention to the dozens of Cubans who are being detained by Castro's state security forces. These brave heroes are risking their lives, yet we are cutting their support, which is not prudent, especially at a time when the crackdown by Castro's thugs is actually on the rise on the island. And Mr. Yohannes, with the Millennium Challenge Corporation, we must ensure that the founding principles of the MCC continue to be upheld and do not fall under the trap of providing more and more assistance without an end in sight. Instead, we've got to focus our efforts on economic growth and the graduation of countries away from being dependent on our assistance. As Chairman of the Subcommittee on the Middle East and North Africa, I note that the MCC compact with Jordan is coming to an end this year, and I wanted to know if you would comment on that. We will be meeting with the leaders of Jordan later today. Also, Morocco continues to be an important ally to the United States and is a strategic partner in the region. We must further seek ways to reiterate the strong bonds that tie our two nations and promote our shared values and vision for stability in that region. With that in mind, and shifting to another region, Mr. Yohannes, I'm concerned about the MCC's attempt to seek a second compact with El Salvador. American investors continue to have problems accessing their assets. There is a lack of public-private partnerships, and endemic corruption issues are still prevalent in El Salvador. According to reports, the current presidential candidate for the FMLN celebrated the terrorist attack on 9/11 and burned an American flag. So I believe that the MCC compact should not be used as a political tool as presidential elections draw near. So I would urge the MCC to wait until after the elections before proceeding with that compact. So, Dr. Shah, if you could address the PA assistance issue and the Cuba issue.
Certainly, thank you, and thank you for your strong leadership on the range of issues here. On West Bank, Gaza, the goals of our effort there are very specific. They're about creating economic opportunities to underpin a peace process, to support basic social services, and we've been able to reach more than 200,000 people with food and more than 75,000 connected to improved water systems, and some core humanitarian priorities as needs arise. We do have very strict controls in how any specific transfers to the Palestinian Authority are conducted, and we're confident that that will continue to go forward as we have run it in the past. Very strict.
Thank you. And on Cuba?
Vetting. And on Cuba, we expect, again, the goals there are support for civil society and democracy with some small humanitarian efforts. And we have worked closely with our partners. We believe the President's budget of $15 million reflects an appropriate investment that they have the capacity to implement. We recognize and take some faith in the fact that GAO reviewed our approach to implementing this program and very strongly commented on the effective reforms we put in place to have a clear and compelling implementation strategy for this effort.
Thank you. And Mr. Yohannes, I have not left you much time for Morocco, Jordan, and El Salvador, but maybe you could reply in writing. I don't wish to rush those answers, because they are important. Thank you very much. Pleased to yield 5 minutes to our substitute ranking member for the substitute chair, Mr. Sherman.